Hey everybody, it's Gordon. Welcome to the bench. Tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. It's going to be a horn repair, but it's not like anything you've seen. Stick around. Okay, well let's get right to it. Tonight we're going to be working on a horn repair, but as you can see, this is not my jam. I'm not really a wood-bodied plane guy, but I am a horned guy, so this ends up in my possession, and we're going to do this repair, but it's going to require something a little bit different. As you can tell, the tote, it is removable, but I'm not going to take it out of there. I don't want to damage this. I don't want to modify or not really modify, but I don't want to disrupt anything going on here. So we're going to do this horn repair in place. So that's going to present some unique challenges. And you might be asking, what is this? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. It's a Worrall smoother, and it is made by Copeland for a couple years. Worrall had Copeland make some of their planes, and not really a history lesson because, again, I don't know a lot about these. But I do know we're going to do a horn, and I do know we have a unique challenge, and I've got an idea in mind. So let's move to the other bench. Okay, so how do we deal with this? A couple different ways. I could try and freehand this, but I'm very particular about a flat surface because we're going to put new material on this. It's beech. So we're going to cut a little beech horn, and then shaping it on the plane is not a problem, but how do I get there? I'm not going to run this across the table saw. I don't want to disrupt anything going on here other than modify the material that I need to. In fact, I was already carving on this just a little bit to make sure that I had the right material. Initially it didn't look like beech, but then I got into a little bit farther and I started to see the true grain, and I'm confirmed now since that it is beech. So we're gonna do a little beech horn on there. Okay, back to the problem. What are we gonna do? I went over to the neighbor's house and stole their birdhouse off a tree, and then I cut the back out of it. And I'm kidding. Actually, this is just a little fixture that I made, and this is an idea that if I put this over the plane, I'm gonna expose just the horn. Now I have two ways to do this. I can use my 71 router and we can just flatten it off, or because I've got it set up at the right height, I can just use a regular hand plane and deck this thing off. And if worst case scenario, if you want to go power tools, you could do the exact same scenario with an electric router or something of that nature. So a Dremel and a little StuMac router frame would also work. So that's what we're gonna do. And I just set this on here to show you what I did. Very primitive, but very simple. It's about geometry, right? We just want a planar surface, something that I can rest on. I'm gonna clamp this all on, and we'll go from there. So I'll just speed it up, and here we go. And again, I'm trying to protect the patina here, so I'm using some thin foam strips.
You can leave it running, I'll just speed the film up at this point. This is kind of a pain to do.
I'm gonna clamp the plane down. And then I'm also gonna clamp my workpiece in place as well. And I'm really just gonna squeeze it right on the plane. And we're super stable. I like that. Maybe we could add one over here. Cool, we are good to go. Let's see what happens. So how did we get to where we are? We have our fixture done. We've planed off the flat. This is where we're headed. We're using beech on beech. We're matching the grain so that it gives us the best chance of making the blend go away. There will be some aging, and I'll do a little distressing and aging to make it blend in, and we'll see there what that looks like when we get there. But in the meantime, plan. Before we mix any epoxy, we need to know where we're headed. This is the geometry. It's not something I'm normally familiar with, but I am using images from the owner who provided photos of a complete plane, and then some images out of PTAMPIA, which is the patented transitional and metallic planes in America, I think is what that stands for. And it's a reference book of all the plane guys out there referred to, and it has some images as well. So this is where we're headed. How do I get the curves that I want? I use French curves, and if you're not a drafter type, artist type, and you don't know what a French curve is, let's look at these. Are antique. They're very old, and I have a set of new as well, but French curves allow us to make these beautiful transitional curves, or what I refer to as variable radius, because this really isn't one radius, it's many. And this graceful line that's sweeping down into a hook, although you can sketch that freehand, what you would do, and what I did, is used French curves to try and get the geometry that I'm after. So again, this is my reference to know where we're headed. We have the right piece. We're going to cut this beech, and I'm going to leave everything square because I love perpendicular clamp, right? So we're going to bond this together. We're not putting any shape on it yet, making it hard to handle. Working primitives, working blocks first, get it to where we need to, and then we can shape it later. So for this one, I'm using clear. I'm not going to tint anything because the light color of the beech, and I'm going for a blended kind of orangey look on the outside. So I'll be doing some work there. But I'm using a System 3 T88 gun. I know I'm in a close-up frame, but super handy. Mixing nozzle makes it super simple, and you've got the right ratio. The T88, of course, is 1:1. So that's kind of a no-brainer, and you're shooting it right out of the gun. No color, no worries. We get a perfect bond. I don't want a ton of squeeze out, but I do want as tight a joint as I can get. And so I am using a Bessie EHKL12, which gives me one-hand capability because I'm working by myself. And I love the control I get with this. Placement is pretty important. I don't want to squeeze it so hard that I starve the joint or I push everything out, but I did open some pores. We've got a great piece of new material. This is not oily, so I'm not using G2. Using a really nice structural T88. I'm being a little fussy with my orientation here, knowing that I'm going to have to deal with this later. Don't have any bore. This thing is mounted, as you saw, it's mounted right into the plane and then it's screwed. So I'm sure it's tucked under. I don't know which way it goes. It's tucked under and then pinned with the flathead screw. So I don't have to worry about the counter bore or anything there, but I do need to worry about my alignment and make sure that I'm kind of pointing my tail down the right way. There we go. So how will we leave this? I think we're just going to leave it up on its end, and that way I'm not going to run down the handle. I want to avoid anything, of course, near the plane, but I do like the pressure. We're on a super flat surface. It just feels rock solid. I think we're going to be awesome on this one. We're in uncharted territory, folks. This is not something I've done before, so you and I are experiencing this together for the first time. but not too complicated. I think we got it. Okay, so welcome back. Obviously, wardrobe change, jump ahead 3 weeks or however long it's been. I need to get caught up on some videos, so I'm going to take a minute to close out some of these things. This is one in front of me. Let's just get right to it. This came to me with a missing horn, and in the video preceding segment here, I talk about how to repair this and leave it whole. And I don't want to clamp this guy in my vise. I don't want to damage the patina that's on here. I really don't know anything about wood body planes. This isn't my area of expertise, but I do know that this is super cool, and I'm glad that it came to me. It now has a new horn, and so I just need to close this out by saying, as I work with some of these lighter woods, and frankly, I had a little trouble trying to identify this one. From the outside looking in, it didn't look like beech, and as it turns out, it's beech. So once I cut into it and I got to look at some fresh material inside, I could see the grain structure and the things I needed to see. So this got a beech little horn added to it, and then I had to color it, right? So the trick with this is I'm not a coloring expert, and I don't know or pretend to have a lot of experience with that. And what I pride myself in, and what makes it easy on the rosewood, is that if you use Brazilian rosewood on a Brazilian rosewood tote and you match the color in its native form, it just makes it simple. I don't stain or color all my Brazilian. I just don't like to cover it up. So that's something that I've kind of taken for granted, I think, as I've mastered some of these techniques and tried to improve and share with you what I'm doing. Well, I'm telling you, when it came to colorization, I'm learning a lot. What I have drawn myself to is the Transtint materials. I'm just going to grab one. I have a new color in-house that I just picked up, but I love this Transtint dye, and I have reached out to them, and I'll spare you that detail, but when I find something that I love and I think I'm well supported and it's a great product and it works as intended, I just hold on to it. And there's no reason to change. But as I continue to grow and improve my palette and kind of grow my color palette, I had to pick this up because I have something new in house. So this one just came to me from Scotland, and it's a great opportunity to say a little bit different color, but it's a great opportunity to say thank you for viewers and subscribers and the people that are reaching out to me as my footprint continues to grow. That's the great thing about it. I just need to get a little bit more content out to you and share some of these videos. And then also on the negative side, as things continue to grow and I get busier, it makes it a little more difficult. But again, my problem, not yours. So again, thank you for the subscription and for following along, and be patient with me as I do take longer than most and I fall behind on my project. So, all right, no more apologies. Let's just zoom in on this. I just got to close this thing out. I'm happy with it. We're going to get this back to the owner, and I really don't have much more to say other than working in place on a full plane is a challenge, and it brought the colorization challenge too. And I didn't want to drag you through my trials and errors and trying to learn as I'm sharing with you. I'd rather perfect it, and I think I'm getting pretty good at it because I've done several now. Once I got that down, we're going to do a video on tint. So there it is. Enjoy these kind of close-ups, and we're going to go on to the next one.